Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Denise. Good to see you. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you tonight. Yeah, I am here. Hello, Starla. Hello, hello. Sorry I was not here Friday. I will explain why in a little bit. Hi, Connie. Hi, Dana. Yeah, sometimes life gets the best of you. You know what I mean? Okay, so it is Friday. I mean, Monday. I don't even know what day it is. Truthfully, I don't know what day it is. I think it's Monday, right? Anyway, good to see you guys. So, another dental visit. Oh, goodness. Well, I hope so, Denise. I hope so. I'm glad you guys are here. So, it is yeah. It is Monday all day long. Chance is not here. Chance is at his new house. He is doing his Chance thing. At his new house, and he is quite happy to be there, which is good. He is very happy, actually, to be in his new house. He loves lots of space to explore, and he's having a great life. But he's not here. So until the studio gets moved, which could be a while, I'm not sure. Although I have to tell you, I'm anxious to get in one spot, not have to live multiple places. He's having a great time. Muppet is with me today because I was going to have to be here instead of the other house, and I can't leave her all day long without somebody to take her out. Hello, Terry. Raining like crazy. Yeah, I think it's getting ready to do something similar here. Starla's working in her butterfly journal. How nice. I should make a butterfly journal. That is a great idea. I should do that. I should do that too. Anyway, it's great to see you guys. I'm glad you're here. So what we're going to work on tonight is I'm going to work in this journal that I started. I did this page, I guess it was last week. I don't know. It seems like a lot of water has flowed under the bridge since last week. The last time I was here on Monday. Fully intended to be here Friday. I will explain more about that as we get going. But anyway, we did this last time we were together, and so I'm gonna do some. I need to do something that's a little bit mindless tonight, if you will indulge me with that. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so we're going to add some color to this. Hello, Rhonda. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Well, the interesting part about that, Denise, is we've had another adventure since then. So I'll explain that in a minute. Yes, I definitely will. Hello, Franna. Good to see you. Yeah, life is just one adventure after another sometimes. We are doing okay. Yep, we sure are. We're doing okay. We're very grateful. That is for sure. For sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to use the pencils that you see. I'm just kind of seeing if some of this graphite will come off on my see if some of the graphite will come off that I used to draw these. These were all inspired from the images in this book, Johanna Basford's How to Draw Inky Wonderlands, and we did the fish. I don't know. Yeah, these fish, we were just playing around with those ideas and kind of some of the ideas here. So that was where this inspiration came from. Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we're going to play with. And because I have, this is the 150 set of Prismacolor pencils, and because I'd like to have them all out here, I'm just going to probably color inside the box. And then we'll just go from there. So we're going to, let me zoom in a little bit here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. But I have all the pencils, the trays of pencils kind of spread out around here. Anyway, so let me start. I will go back and forth between talking to you and coming down to the desk. So anyway, I'll just tell you the quick version. And why I wasn't here on Friday was on Halloween night, which was Thursday in the evening. It was still daylight out. Elton was taking, he'd had some kids from our local Christian campus house, students on the university campus. They had come out to help him move furniture around, taking excess pieces and that they could use to donate to needy families and that kind of stuff, and also taking the pieces that they could use at the campus house, you know, getting rid of that and then moving some other, you know, it's just it's a jigsaw puzzle. It's kind of a Jenga kind of game, you know, of move this, get rid of that, see what it looks like, you know, etc. So because we're trying to combine two households, yeah, it's a job. And although he has a big house, you know, he had a lot of stuff in his house, too much for his house, and then we've got my stuff, and yeah, anyway. So anyway, Thursday he was taking he was done with the kids, the students. He had 4 students, and he was taking them back to their where they live. So while I'm talking, I'm going to start coloring in here, and I'm not sure what we're going to do, so I'm just going to pick up a color and I'm just going to kind of start. So anyway, he was taking them back to the university, to their housing, and a guy pulled out in front of them, and that caused a wreck. And it could have been really bad. It was bad enough that it totaled his van, which was a Toyota Sienna van, and totaled the other driver's car. But the good news is that everybody walked away from the accident. Everybody walked away. And so Elton got the worst of it, of everybody. But yeah, everybody walked away. So we are very, 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 extremely, very grateful. So, okay, so that, you got that part. Anyway, let me see if I can get my wits about me here to pull out a color so I can start coloring something here. I'm just trying to figure out what color I want. Okay, I'm just going to pull out a color and start. Yeah, they are scary. They definitely are. Okay, this is a Prismacolor pencil light aqua. And so I'm just going to start coloring this fish up here. And then we'll just, I don't know why this fish, it just seemed to be the one. Anyway, so what happened was that it was a young driver, and he pulled out. It was 5 o'clock traffic, and he pulled out into traffic. There were 2 lanes of traffic, and the lane on the outside, the most outside, was full of cars, and they somebody slowed down to let this guy pull out. And so he did, but instead of pulling out carefully and, to make sure he wasn't gonna, that there was room for him, he kind of darted out into traffic. And so that's where the problem was, because Elton was on the inside lane of traffic, and so he hit him. Did not T-bone the guy's car, which is really good, because that could have really, really hurt this young man a lot. Got him ahead of the door in the front quarter panel, so that was very positive. But this was an in-town accident, so it was going about probably 25 to 30 miles an hour, or 20 to 25 miles an hour, something like that. Let's find a blue here just because. And so all the airbags went off. And much to my surprise, and maybe his too, there are a lot of airbags in a Toyota Sienna. A lot of airbags, and they all deployed. Everybody had on seat belts, and most of the damage that Elton received was from the airbag. However, he didn't hit his head, and he is, he's okay. And although we had to go to the hospital and get a couple stitches in his hand, and we have to see a surgeon this week so that we find out, what has to be done to his hand, because his thumb took a real big blow on his right hand. Of course, he's right-handed. And so we have to find out what has to be done to that. And we were supposed to go tomorrow, but that's not happening now. And so we'll be going on Wednesday to see the hand surgeon. And so at the moment, he is in a splint from his right here. His finger is right here, and his thumb is pretty much immobilized, not quite, but pretty much. And the splint goes up to, soft splint goes up there. And so he's right-handed, as I said, so that caused some issues. Of course, there was some pain, and there was some chest pain from the airbag and the seat belt and so forth. And yeah, let's see, what else? And the airbag, I didn't even know there was an airbag under the steering column, but there is. And when that deployed, that got his shins on both legs. One of them had a pretty good skinned up spot. And the other one is, the other shin is, sorry, I'm having a little bit of a challenge concentrating here at the moment. Let's go with this, maybe this one. The other shin had a little skin spot, but not as much. One was worse than the other, in other words. So he's kind of got a skinned up spot there. But mostly just really, really sore, from the impact from the airbag going off. So anyway, I don't know if you can see these fish. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I hope. So anyway, he did not hit his head, didn't have any facial cuts or anything. You were T-boned. Yeah. Hi, Linda. Hello, Jill. And everybody that's here. Glad you're here. Yeah, so it could have been a lot worse than it was. It did total his van. Totaled the other car too. And Yeah, that was pretty amazing sight to see, and I'm just we're both, everyone is very grateful that all the students were okay, the other kid was okay, and Elton will be okay, and he is far better off than he might have been. And I said, not even married 3 weeks, and you try to do this. Crazy man. You can see the fish? Okay, good. You're so grateful that all you did was fling yourself off your new treadmill, and that's good. That's very good. That's all you did. Okay, let's come over here, and I'm not going to do these fish in a realistic color palette. I don't really care. I'm just gonna color some fish and then maybe add some details with some jelly roll pins, perhaps. So let's see. At one point, when we finally got to go to the hospital, because the EMS people said we should go to the hospital because he had a pretty good cut on his in here, and not sure where the cut exactly came from, but have an idea, but not totally sure where it came from. That needed to be stitched up, and so we had to go do that. So when we finally got the cars taken care of and we took off for the hospital, and we got over there, I drove him to the hospital, and I just had nightmares in my thought process of Halloween night and what that meant, what that looked like, how long we were going to have to wait and that kind of stuff, and we walked in and they took us right in. So I was very surprised that we walked straight into the emergency room, and they took him immediately and started talking to him and everything and asking him questions, and he was sensible, and which is good, because immediately I was in assessment mode of trying to figure out whether he knew up from down and all that kind of stuff. I can't tell you that I wasn't very concerned. I was very concerned for lots of reasons, but one of which was, did he hit his head? Because that is exactly how things went south with Clausman. And yeah, so that was really scary for me, that he may have hit his head and we might be looking at a similar situation, but he didn't hit his head, and he was sensible, and he was answering questions, and he was doing all the stuff, and so that was great. Anyway, okay, so I'm just coloring these fish just because I don't know what else to do tonight. And what color did I use on that? This. Yeah, so anyway, we had a good weekend. It was kind of an up and down weekend for him. We had to go by the towing lot to get the rest of the stuff out of his van. The crazy part about all this is that on the Sienna van, they have these, you push a button and the doors slide open. Both, and there's doors like that on both sides. They both worked. All the front two doors worked. The trunk, or the hatch door in the back worked. The front end was just completely mashed, but everything else worked. It was crazy. That's crazy, Anyway, hello Ruth, hello Brenda, hello to everybody else. So anyway, it was quite an experience for everything. It was his first real accident. He was a school bus driver for a long time and has logged many thousands of miles as a school bus driver. I'm looking for another color here that I don't know what color I want. Maybe this one. And never had an accident. So, you know, I guess if you can get to be his age and say, you know, this is your first accident, that's not bad, you know? Anyway, so he did go today. He took off the weekend. He's still working, still practicing. And he did take off the weekend, which was good, very good. And, but he did go back to work today. And so that's what he did. And so that was good. You know, it's good to kind of get back into your routine and, you know, kind of reestablish some kind of normalcy as quickly as you can. And so he's kind of figured out now how to write with his right hand, even though it's in a splint. He's kind of figured that out, which is also good for him. And I'm just going to go around this fish's eye. So that was good. I mean, so many good things. Today it was kind of like the air got let out of me. It's like the air went out of the tire today. And I did my class on Saturday with the VIP group, so I did that. So that was good. You know, so I've kind of done a few normal things in amongst the abnormal. But all is well. If my energy seems a little bit down, that would probably be accurate. Probably be a little accurate. See what we can do with some of these little fishies. I don't know. I'm just making them up as we go. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, so that was Halloween for us. As I said, when we got into the ER, they took him right in and they started working on him, and they said, boy, it seems quiet in here tonight, you know, and the nurse said, oh yeah, but it's Halloween, it'll get crazy in a little while. And before we left, we were there like 5 or 6 hours, and before we left, they were full. It was pretty crazy. So we were very fortunate. Very fortunate. So anyway, that was Halloween for us, and we're just super, super, super grateful. Yeah, super grateful. And everything should be okay. It may take a little bit, you know. He's having to allow me to help him with some things that he wasn't probably planning to have me do at this point in his life. But the caregiver part of me lit up, and so I'm having to be a little careful that I don't overstep, you know, taking my cues from him and that kind of stuff, you know. So it's easy to overstep when you care for someone. Super easy. Okay, so this little fish is kind of getting a little bit of color on him. He's a green fish. You know, if you can have goldfish, I think you can have green fish, don't you? I think so. And so I'm going to I'm going to go to the white. Let's see. That is true. You just do. You just have to just weather the storms, don't you? You just weather the storms, whatever they might be. Okay, let's come over and put a little bit of this on this one. Anyway, so I'm super grateful. I'm a little I'm a little energyless tonight. Energyless? You know what I mean. And I'm so glad to be here with you guys tonight. So glad. We've had all kinds of people reach out and say, what do you need? What can we do to help? And the truth is, there really wasn't much, that anybody needed to do at this point, but it was really nice to have people love and care for him and reach out and be willing to help do anything. So that was really sweet. Very much appreciated. Okay, so let's make a goldfish on this one. And I don't know what fish eyes look like, so I'm just kind of putting some white, Anybody know what a fish eye looks like? I should look it up. But I probably won't. I should, but I won't, because they're just made up. Hello, Terry. Hello, Dorothy. Good to see you. And if I don't see you in the chat, it's just because I haven't looked over there. If any of you are unaware, wonder why I'm not streaming at the time that you expected me to, it's because the time changed and we fell back an hour. Not my favorite time of year, just because, the fall back stuff is, everything gets dark so early. It's just not my favorite. It's not my fave, but like it or not, it is what it is, right? All right, here's my brown. Have you started your book highlighting of your life on a meal? Yeah, really, Denise. We already would have like 5 chapters, right? Yeah, we'd already have like 5 chapters. But we got really good care in the hospital. And at one point, they took him to go do x-rays because they wanted to see, the state of things. And so they took him, and then his phone started ringing, and then my phone started ringing. So I have a phone in each ear. The police never did come to the scene of the accident. I don't know. We're shorthanded on police at the moment. Like a lot of the mayor of our town doesn't seem to think that we really need to have very many police. Yes. But then I have to tell you that our mayor is a woman. She's one of those extremely, I don't know what you'd call her. But she wears a t-shirt. She did wear a t-shirt, and she had it on social media that says, "I'm the effing mayor," only the effing was spelled out. And I'm like, really? So it kind of tells you the attitude of that person. But she doesn't really think we need that many police officers, apparently. I don't know. So I'm kind of like, whatever. Okay, so this little fishy, I'm not sure I've done a very good job with him. He's all right. He's okay. He's okay. We'll put a little bit of, maybe we'll try some bright yellow here on the outer part of his fins. So anyway, our weekend was fairly quiet with just kind of staying put and just being appreciative of that which we have been blessed with, which is another day, another time, another chance to enjoy being together and realizing once more, like we all need periodically to be reminded that, life can be very, very short. It can be changed in a heartbeat, and we're just super grateful that in this particular situation, that life was not changed. It was halted, and it was definitely challenging, but it was not altered dramatically. But sometimes you just need to be reminded of things so that you just get over yourself and put things in the priority where they belong, because I think sometimes we spend a lot of time worrying about stuff that just doesn't matter, and we spend time getting wound up in details of things that really don't need to be given that much importance, And so it's good when you get those reminders in a way that hopefully you pay attention to, and sit up and take notice, and and you just get good and grateful. And I think that is something that we could all really benefit from, is getting really super, super grateful. And yeah, it would be easy to go, oh, if only that hadn't happened, if only that hadn't happened. Well, you know what? It did happen. It did. And so what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do with this experience? And, one of the things that what's going to make us do is to be more empathetic for other people, And one of the things Elton is really good about is being that he's already good at being empathetic with other people, but he was super concerned about the kid that darted out in front of him. Let's go to a different green. Very concerned about that kid. And let me tell you, when that young man realized that somebody with white hair crawled out of that van, that was the driver, and then 4 more people crawled out of that van, and only one of them had a cut on his hand. I'm sure there's a lot of bumps and bruises and, things, how it is, sore spots that show up later, how that is. But I think this kid got a huge wake-up call. His mom showed up on the scene pretty quickly. And I think this young man was he was real concerned about what had just happened. So it is good to be happy. Yep, it is good to be happy. Hi, Nanette. So here is what we're doing. So let's come in here to this leaf right here. I'm just kind of moving around on this, just kind of I don't know. I'm just kind of moving around and seeing what happens here. Let's go to this green, and I'm just picking different colors randomly. I'm not going to try and make this page make any sense. I'm not going to try and use a color scheme. I'm just kind of letting the section of the page dictate a little bit with what I want to do. These are, if you're not familiar with the Prismacolor pencils, they are a waxed based colored pencil, and you got to be careful that you don't color too hard in the first coat. If you color and put down too much of the waxy pigment, you'll burnish the surface, and then you can't add any more color to it. So just, if you're into doing this with a waxy or oil-based pencil, you do need to use light pressure if you want to add multiple colors. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not using much pressure. I'm just putting color down, and then we're going to come back with another. I've put a couple more colors in these fish. Hopefully you can see them. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. And honestly, this is the first time I've used any of these pencils from this set. It was when I think Dick Blick had a sale on their pencils, and I think that's when I got these. And I don't know why I haven't used them yet, but tonight we are cracking them out and using these pencils. So I'm just using a little bit of pressure to get an additional color, some shading in this instance. Putting a little shading in, and then we'll come back and see if we can put a little bit of highlight in. Okay, so what am I thinking now? Anybody have any questions for me? If you do, put them in the chat. Type in all caps so that when I look up, my eyes will be drawn to the all caps, if you would. Okay, so let's come back to a real bright something and see if we can get a highlight on this leaf, maybe a little bit. So, every once in a while, and here's the thing. Every once in a while, you get this wake-up call about, not being selfish, not being self-centered. And I think that really, overall, Elton and I have done a fairly good job because of circumstances that we've each lived through. I think we've done a pretty good job with having a decent attitude about life and how quickly it can change and disappear. But even so, it doesn't hurt to have another little reminder. And yeah, so it's good. It's good to have that reminder, keeping things in perspective. Let's make this one. How about this let's do kind of a mossy green color. It's just kind of whatever is floating my boat, whatever seems like the thing to do, that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to take a break here in just a second after I do this leaf. And we have another little couple of fish to do. And ideally, I should have started on this page since I'm right-handed. But you know what? I didn't. So there you go. I almost always will start here and work over instead of this way. And, what can I say? I'm not always known for making sense about things, but that is okay. And I'm not even going to try and keep these pencils. Keeping pencils in order is just so annoying for me. Although I do like to have things in color order. But I don't know. I get them out of order just about as quick as anything. But anyway, yeah, so that night in the ER, I have the police officer in one ear, and then my phone rings, and it is Elton's daughter, one of his daughters. And so I talked to her. She wanted to make sure he was okay. It was the daughter that lived with him. And, of course, that was frightening, of course. And, yeah. Anyway, so everybody is calmed down now, and, as we keep working through whatever the details are that we need to work through. Okay, so it's kind of taking some shape, it's okay. Okay, let me check the chat here. Okay, Starla, thank you so much. Hi, Kathy. Okay, I don't see anything else. Thanks, Rhonda. Okay, I don't see anything else, so that's good. We'll just keep going back here. Hang on just a second. I had a couple of text messages. Okay, done. Okay, so let's come back here. Let's do this little fish here. Let's make this fish, I don't know what color we want to make this fish. We've got this kind of corally color in the background, so maybe we'll make something right about here in that color that will kind of make this fish stand, you know, kind of go with the background. And I'm kind of thinking maybe we'll use, let me look at what my choices are here. I think we will use, you know what, I'm going to use this color, and then, I mean, it is hot pink. What is it? Rose, neon pink. Yep, neon pink. Okay, let's put some of this color in here, and then we'll go from there. It's kind of fun when you don't have to worry about anything being realistic, and some of these fish, tropical fish, and I'm sure that's what these are. I'm sure they're tropical. I'm sure that these fish will be very happy to be nicely colored. A funny thing about Muppet, after we got her moved out, I moved her, interestingly, I moved her on Wednesday night, moved the animals on Wednesday night. And I have to say, I was pretty nervous about how they were going to behave, you know, how they were going to adapt and everything. They've done remarkably well. But I think it was on Thursday morning, Elton took her out. I think it was Thursday morning. I don't know. Everything's kind of running together at this point on days, but he took her out. No, it was after the accident, so it must have been Friday that he took her out to go to the bathroom. And she's having to adapt to an environment that she is not aware of. You know, she's in the country. She's always had a fenced-in backyard. And so she doesn't hear, and she doesn't see real well. And so she was, I could see she was kind of taking off a little bit. And I'm like, what is she doing? Because I was watching from inside the house. And she, this is out, kind of out in the country. And she walked down the driveway. She wasn't running, because she's old. She's walking down the driveway, and she's headed toward the gravel road that's in front of his house. And I'm like, what is she doing? She went right down the driveway. She took a hard right onto the gravel road, and then she just kept on walking. And I'm like, I don't know where she's going. She doesn't know where she's going. She, you know, she doesn't know what she's doing. And so I go out, and I know that I can clap, and I guess it's the percussion of my clap. She can usually hear that, but she can't hear you yell at her or anything. And so I am taking off down the road after, and she's not running, but she is walking on, and I don't know where she's going. She doesn't know where she's going. And so, and Elton can't clap because he's only got one hand, and so I'm clapping, trying to get her attention. I finally caught up with her and got a hold of her collar, and she's like, oh, and looks up, and she's like, oh, hi. So we got turned around and headed back to the house. She hasn't done that again. Yeah, exactly. We don't need any doggy drama. But I don't know where she was going. She was just, you know, she was just taking a walkabout, I guess. Taking a walkabout. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can zoom in here a little bit more for this fish. Let me see if I can get my journal up a little bit more so you can kind of see if I can get my hand under here so you can kind of see a little bit more what I'm doing. What I'm doing here is just shading these fins a little bit. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. She hasn't done that again, so that's very good. Crazy dog. Crazy dog, I'm telling you. And Chance has walked around. Well, I will tell you one of the funny things he did. I think it was Thursday night. I don't know. Like I said, everything's kind of run together. I think it was Thursday night. I was doing something in the house, and Elton was sitting in the living room. And all of a sudden, I hear he has a piano in his living room, and all of a sudden, I hear this noise, and I'm like, "What is that?" You know, the strange kind of. I mean, I was just kind of in my own space at that point. And all of a sudden I hear this noise, and then I recognize the fact that it's the piano keys. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, it was Chance. It was Chance. And I walk in there, and this is a piano. It's a spinet style, you know, upright, but it's not as big as an upright piano. And he had his hind feet on the piano bench and his front feet on the keyboard, and he's literally walking with his front feet on the keyboard. And he didn't do it more than a couple times, and then he let go of the keyboard, and he got down. And so I'm thinking, well, that's crazy. That funny, goofy cat. Well, do you know that the next morning he did it again, and probably for a good 30 seconds. So I guess it was maybe Thursday night and Friday morning or something. I mean, it was funny. It was truly funny, where he was hind feet on the piano bench, front feet on the keys. But he'd never been around a piano before. And so he was literally, guys, he was playing the piano. Yeah, he literally was playing the piano. Funny cat. Okay. Now the rain is starting here now. I'm just going to add a little bit more to this fish up here, just because. I'm going to put a little tiny bit right along the top, just to see if I can get him to get a bit more of a rounded, make him be fat a little bit more, and pooch out a little bit more in here with the white, highlight in here just a little bit more. So anyway, yeah, Chance did lighten the moment. He sure did. He lightened the moment up a little bit. All right, we got one more fish down here, and so let's do this fish right here. And what color should we make this fish? And then I think we'll add some color in here to this fish as well. Let's do this kind of purpley color, just because. So anyway, you know, life is crazy sometimes. It's unpredictable, and yet even in the midst of the crazy, there are those unique moments that show up, like Chance playing the piano. I mean, he apparently has talent that I didn't know about, and he's a goofball, and crazy cat. So he kind of entertained us a little bit, gave us a good laugh. And Elton's chest is sore enough that sneezing, coughing, and laughing don't bring a lot of pleasure right now. But you know what? He's kind of glad to feel that. He's kind of glad to feel that. That means he's hanging in there, right? For reals. Okay, so we got that fish, and let's put a little bit of another, maybe we'll put a little bit of this kind of pinky color. So I think we're supposed to have rain here for quite a few hours, which is not my favorite because I'm going to be driving back across town. Not my favorite thing, but it's okay. It is okay because I'm grateful to have a place and to be. I'm just rattling, you guys. You're just going to have to forgive me tonight because I'm just rattling. I'm just rattling. Yes, I am. I'm just rattling. Not making a lot of sense here tonight. Back when I was taking care of my mom and dad, I couldn't remember who had onions. It was just one of the memories I have that was so strong. And I'm kind of in that space again where it's like, where am I and what am I doing? Okay, so let's I'm gonna just see if I can make these bubbles a little more bubbly. It is true. Hi, Kel. I did this morning. Oh, okay. So the big news is I took my first bath in the giant bathtub last night. I felt kind of like Edith Ann from Laugh-In, if you remember Edith Ann in the rocking chair. That's kind of how I felt. This bathtub is a giant bathtub, big enough for two people. Yeah, big enough for two. And I managed to get in it. And the funny part is I put down a bath mat, one of those non-slip bath mats. Because as a woman of my age, a woman of my age needs to have a bath mat, non-slip bath. I mean, anybody needs a non-slip bath mat, to tell you the truth. And so I put that inside the tub last night because I decided I'd try it. I had to see if I could get in and out of the tub, right? So this is last night. Although I have to admit, I did take my own bath in my own bathtub here today. Because it's more comfortable for me, truthfully. Anyway, I got myself into the bathtub last night. This giant bathtub. And I don't know if I'm going to get out, but I got in. Well, it's long enough, this tub is long enough that if I stretch out, I can't touch the other end of it. And the bath mat, the non-slip bath mat that's in the bottom of the tub wasn't positioned quite right, so I'm not sitting on it. And so I put my legs down, and that off-balanced my body, and so I'm starting to quickly go down, and I'm like, and I have visions of I'm going to drown in this bathtub. I didn't. I stopped myself quickly enough that didn't happen. So then I just sat there with my knees pulled up in the water, and I'm just like, I feel this must be what a 2-year-old feels like the first time they get in a bathtub, because it just seemed like it was such a big bathtub, Anyway, I didn't stay there very long. I figured out, okay, I can get in. Now all I have to do is get out. And I did figure out a way to get out of it. So I didn't have to have a rope ladder. And, and Elton said, well, if you can't get out, I'll help you. And I'm like, you can't help me. You can't help me get out of this tub, you silly man. I'm telling you. Thunderstorms are in St. Louis. Yeah, it's crazy. It is like a small swimming pool. It has those jets in it, which I'm not even remotely interested in, but anyway. Yeah, so the good news is I tried out the tub and I survived it. You know, I didn't drown. I didn't, you know, it's all that, all those things. I did okay. So that's good. That's good news. All right, let's see if we can get these bubbles to have just a little bit more dimension. Yeah, it was pretty funny though. When I started to go down in the, you know, slip down, and I mean I'm sitting down so I'm not going anywhere, but I started to kind of slip down and I'm like, oh man, this is just, I'm gonna drown right here in this tub. And I'm not a swimmer, so you see that is a fear. That is a fear of mine. Yes, it is. Water and I are not, I mean, I love a bath, but I don't want to really go swimming. I really don't. Yep. Okay, so that might, all right, that gave those just a little bit more dimension. He would. It's exactly what he would do. He would laugh at me and say, "You silly woman." I know. I know. Yes, he would. He would laugh at me. Okay. So, let's see what we can do to this fish. Let's make this fish. I don't know what color we want to make this fish. What color shall we make of this fish? It doesn't matter, Barb. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Let's use some yellows and golds, and you know, we'll just make him a yellow goldfish. Yeah, that's why you have to. It's a two-person tub. It's clearly a two-person tub because you need two people in it. So if one of you goes down, the other one can save your butt. Don't you think? I think that could be it. I'm glad I don't have to stay here in the storm tonight. I'm not much of a storm lover. And it's good that Muppet can't hear the storms anymore, because she was not a storm lover, that's for sure. But she's not as bad as our golden retriever used to be. Oh, gads, the golden retriever was scared to death of storms. Absolutely terrified of storms. Those of you that have been hanging around for a while, that was Sandy. Oh, she was just mortified. Never did get a thunder suit or a thunder whatever they're called, but boy, I sure thought about it, because she was terrified of thunder. Muppet doesn't like it, or didn't like it, but she wasn't terrified of it. In fact, I don't think she was really frightened so much until she took lessons from the Golden. And the Golden taught her that, you know, life is scary in the storms. That's kind of what happened, I think. Okay, let's go to, I don't know what color this is. So we're just giving this fish some color. You know, they talk about rainbow trout. This may be a rainbow fish. I think it should be a rainbow fish. Let's put some pink on this fish, shall we? Because why not? This was a stamp. This fish stamp is by Fred Mullet, is the artist's name. I don't know if Fred's still around. Haven't heard anything about him in quite a while, but he did some great stamps and stencils and things. All right, so let's put a little green in here. So we got green and pink and Yeah. He's a color. This one's going to be a colorful fish right here. Because why not? Okay, and then let's put a little bit of purpley color in here. And so we'll call him a rainbow fish. Because we can. Because I'm the boss of coloring in my fish. All right. Anyway, Fred Mullet is the artist who designed these stamps. They don't wear the thunder jackets or whatever they are. Yeah. That is true, Denise. That is so true. That is so true. You know, when, I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny also. When Clausman was, he was already on hospice, so he was, it was one of our first days he was on hospice. And they came, he wanted to get up, and I didn't realize how difficult a time he was having, you know, because it's like he would lose abilities in big chunks. And so he was in the hospital bed, and he wanted to get up and move around, and he couldn't walk at that point, so he needed to get in the wheelchair. And so I said, I don't know if I can move you into the wheelchair, but he was just determined. He wanted to get up and get in the chair. And then there's times when you just like, okay, we'll try it. So I got him sitting up and got ready to transfer him. At this point, he'd lost so much weight that it wasn't super easy, but he was easy-ish to move him from the bed to the wheelchair. At least if he could help a little bit. But I didn't realize how much he couldn't help until this experience. And so I don't know, sometimes when you're dealing with people with dementia, they will push back, which is what he did, instead of helping me by coming forward, where you can get his weight in a certain way so you can get him pivoted over the chair. So he pushes back, which ends up off balancing him from me. And so he just, instead of getting onto the chair, he just slid right down the bed, and he's sitting on the floor. And I'm like, well, this is not good, because I can't get him from a dead lift from the floor back up and into either the chair or the bed. And so he's just looking at me like he doesn't know what happened. I mean, he didn't hit. He just slid right down the bed. And there he's sitting on the floor. And I'm like, wow, this is great. This is great. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. And he doesn't know whether to laugh or cry, because he doesn't, quite frankly, doesn't know how he got down there. And so I cover him up with a blanket, because he just had on undershorts or whatever and a t-shirt, and so I knew he'd get cold pretty quickly, and so I cover him up with a blanket, and I call hospice, because you're not supposed to call 911. And so I call hospice, and they say, you need to call 911. And I said, they told me never to call 911. She said, I know, but you call them and tell them that you need a lift assist. And I'm like, a lift assist? I don't even know what that is. And she said, call them and they will come. They'll send some officers or firemen, and they will lift him back in bed. Because I said, I literally cannot get him up and get him back in bed. And she said, they'll get him back in bed for you and everything will be fine. And I said, so you're sure that I'm supposed to call 911? And she said, yes, I'm sure. Everything will be fine. And so I did. I called 911 and I told them what the situation was. And she said, I'll have some EMS guys come over very soon. And I said, it's not an emergency, but I just can't get him back in bed. And she said, that's okay. We'll get him up. So they did. They came and they sent 4 guys, 3 or 4 guys in, took that many to get him from the floor back into the bed. And and then as soon as they left, and I thanked them profusely for coming and all that, his question was this: how much did that cost? That's in one of his lucid moments. And I said, and this was, I have to admit, this was even mean for me. And I said, I don't know. I haven't gotten the bill yet. You know, you say some terrible things when you do. You say some bad things in moments when you're super tired and stuff. And he goes, oh. But part of the method in my madness at that moment was to scare him a little bit so he wouldn't try to get out of bed on his own. And he never did. He wanted to know how much the bill was, how much that cost. Oh, I know, you guys. I know. Shame on me. Oh, well. Yeah. So these, I think, are rocks down here. I'm not real sure what they are. I think they're rocks. So I'm going to just make them kind of rock-like things. And then I think I'll use some dark brown. What color is this? Maybe this is dark purple. Black grape. Huh. Didn't know there was such a color. Put some black grape out here to emphasize these little, whatever this is that's growing off the rock. So I'm going to put some of that in there. But yeah, you want to know how much that cost? Yeah, anyway, we had some funny times. Some funny times. Thank goodness those guys were kind. They really were. Okay, so we have some rocks, we have some fishes, we have some green stuff, we have some bubbles and all of that. I think I'm going to get, if you don't mind, I'm going to get some jelly roll pins, and let's see if we can decorate these fish on this page a little bit more. I know they didn't charge anything, but and I knew they weren't going to charge anything, but you know, I was trying to make a point. Okay, so I have a few jelly roll pins. They're the ones that I could put my hands on. She didn't want to bother anyone. Oh, bless her heart. You really do have that feeling sometimes, you know. Okay, these are the jelly rolls that are retractable. So let's see if these have some. I just need to see if these. Okay, I was just needing to see if it was going to write. So let's put some jelly roll pin in the eyes of these fishes a little bit, so that maybe it stands out a little bit more. I don't know, guys. I'm just making it up as I go because, you know. Okay. All right, let's add some little highlights to some of these bubbles that we've got going on here. Hopefully you can see maybe some of what I'm doing. This is the kind of stuff that's mindless, that you just need to, sometimes you just got to mindlessly do things. You know, one of the mindless things that is good to do, I know they call it mindful stitching, mindful journaling, mindful whatever. You know what? Sometimes I just need something that's not mindful, that is actually just mindless. Yeah? Where all you do is just where you just don't have to think. All right, I don't want to use silver. Let's try this blue and this purple. This is from this kit called, or this package called Ink Effects, Jelly Roll Ink Effects. Opaque and archival ink. Alright, so this blue, alright, is working, and this purple. This is the blue, that's the purple. So let's try some of the purple in here on some of these stripy bits. But sometimes you just need something that's mindless. You know, yeah, I understand the concept of mindful stitching and mindful whatever, but boy, sometimes you just need to not have to think, you know? And it's good to just be mindless. Okay, I think that kind of added a little bit to that fish. Let's come over to this purpley fish over here, and he's got some polka dots. So, and you will not see the glitter aspect of this polka dot pin, polka dots that I'm filling in with pin. You may not be able to see that on camera, but in real life, it's looking kind of iridescent, and that's what I was after. Just to kind of sparkle them up a little bit. Let's see if I can tilt it in the light. Maybe you'll be able to see them. Not really. There you can kind of see over on this one, you can see a little bit of the, right there. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of cool. Let's add a little bit more to this one. Just some dots, even though they're not dots drawn in, just to kind of sparkle that fish up a little bit. And there's a gold in here also. Maybe we can make some gold kind of show up on that yellow fish, just to make him kind of, oh, that's good, making that goldfish really gold. I don't know who it is I listened to one time, and they pronounced gold goad. And I've never forgot. So every time I pick up a gold anything, I hear the word goad in my head. I know. Funny the things that get stuck in your head, isn't it? So I'm just going to add a little bit of gold onto this rainbow fish. So anyway, you guys, I am living in gratitude right now, more than ever, and I try to stay in a state of gratitude, you know, but we all get complacent. We all get, you know, a little wackadoodle and lose perspective on things. We do. I'm just giving him a little bit of gold iridescence around his eye, just to see what it'll do. It's kind of cool. What other color? I've got purple. Let's give him some just a few little purple marks. And maybe we'll give him some, you know, curved lines, like some scales, some purple scale type marks down here. And then maybe some green. Same thing up here. I don't know. I'm just making it up as we go, guys. Just making it up. I had a funny comment the other day. I've had this comment more than once, but not too often. It was a funny comment. It did make me laugh. And it was somebody that, it was like, have you ever had somebody shake your hand and, you know, verbally shake your hand with one hand and slap you with the other one? It was kind of like that. And I had somebody leave me a comment that whoever it was, don't know if male or female, really enjoyed the video, enjoyed seeing what I was doing, and then immediately said that the video was way too long and they couldn't be bothered to watch something that took that long. And I'm like, then why would you watch? Why would you bother yourself? Why would you bother yourself to watch if you couldn't watch that long? Why would you watch it? Perhaps they got into it and I was just so mesmerizing that they just couldn't get out of it, you think? I don't know. It made me laugh. It truly made me laugh. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. People are just so interesting. Okay, so there is that. This side has color added. This side does not. And I think I kind of enjoy having the color added here. And I think maybe that is a good thing to do. And that kind of makes this stamp kind of fit into the overall thing. There's Elton Faye. You are welcome, Mr. Studley Duck. Yes. It is my pleasure to do whatever I can to make your life better. So, what do you think about this? I think it's looking okay. Maybe we need to make these spots down here have a little moss on them or something. He is a sweet man. You know, he is a sweet man. Do you know what he did? Okay, I'm going to brag on him a little bit. I'm going to tell you what he did. I'm going to tell you what he did. I'm just adding some metallic colors down here because I think these rocks need, these rocks need to have some polka dots down here. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what he did. It might embarrass him, but he's not here, so I can talk about him all I want. When we came back from our honeymoon, and I may have told you this before, but when we came back from our honeymoon and we came to the house for the first time, on my pillow was a sticky note that said, "Welcome home." And I thought that was really sweet. Don't you think that was sweet? I kept that. It's going in my journal. And then the other thing he did that was equally thoughtful and sweet was he sent me my first mail that arrived at his house. And they were his wedding vows, his original wedding vows that he had written. And, you know, he'd written them out and he put them in an envelope and he sent them to me in the mail. That was nice. It was very nice. I know. Do you think I should keep him? I think I should keep him, maybe. I'm thinking about it. Although if he pulls another stunt like he did Halloween night, I'm going to rethink that idea. I'm going to rethink that idea. That's right. Being on the same team is right. Okay, you guys, I know it's a little bit early. I'm quitting a little bit early tonight. What else could I show you? Let me see if I was thinking about a journal that I was going to show you guys. Let me see if I can find it here. I know I have it here, but I'm just not sure it's in this bookshelf. You guys hold down the fort for just a second. Let me run down to where my other bookshelf is, and you guys chat amongst yourselves just for a second. Okay, nope, it wasn't where I thought it was. It's a journal that it was from Pam Carricker's book, and I don't know where it is. I've got it here someplace, but I don't know where it is, so I can't put my hand on it right this minute. Pardon me. And so we will take a look at that another time. Let me see if I have anything else I can show you before I go. Here, we'll just look through a couple of my random journals. How about that? Because I'm tired of coloring fish, truthfully. So we'll just kind of look at a couple of journals, and maybe it'll give you some ideas and some inspiration, and then I'll call it a night. Okay, so this is a Diane Reevely Square journal, and this was NaNoJumo, if you guys are familiar with NaNoJumo, from 2015, which was done in November. And so every day there was a prompt. Well, in a perfect world, I would have done all 30 days, but I did not. I did not. This was for a different journal, and a pattern that I was doing for a different journal, and I didn't know what else to do with this, so I stuck it in this one. Anyway, so this was the first day, and this was "Hello, my name is." That was this journal prompt, and so this is what I did in response to "Hello, my name is," and I just happened to have a name tag from something, and that's what it had on it. So what I have written there, let me zoom in just a little. Whoops, not quite that much. Hello, my name is, and I wrote all these different things: artist, mother, daughter, I am me, grandmother, creative, wife, my name is Barb, caregiver, and author. So that's what I wrote there. So that was this. And because hands are so much a part of my existence, I put that, added a hand, as well as whatever else in the background. Let's see. The next one was Day 2 was a rose. So a rose was the journal prompt. And so these roses actually came from some of my dad's photography. So those are color images, color copies. By Denise. Stay on the treadmill now. You think it's fun to have no pressure? Good. And so this was what I used. And belief gives you the blueprint. You must be the builder. So I just used the word believe, and then I did some journaling. But these were roses, and this is fabric. This is jelly plate printed fabric that's on here and stenciled and stuff. I haven't done nearly as much art journaling for a long time as I really would like to. Maybe I'll inspire myself again. This has a lot of stenciled texture paste on here, and probably spray inks. Anyway, that was my response to a rose. This one was inspire, this part. And so this was my response to inspired, or inspire. So I wrote, I am inspired. These letters are cut out. And I did a lot of journaling in the background first. So that's what's in the background. This one was, I'm really not. And so this was what the prompt was. I'm really not. And so I said, my response to that was, I'm really not limited. I reach for stars and grab them. I reach for the stars and grab them. So that is that response to that. And we'll see how far I got on this. The next one was admit. And so that was this one. This whole page was admit. And I don't know what I'm admitting. Oh, I'm admitting my home is a sacred space. And so I did a bunch of journaling back there about that. These were from a Joggles stencil that I created, these houses. The paper is either jelly plate printed or paste paper. I'm not sure which. These were stamps on tissue paper that I added. These are stamps by Diane Reevely, these mushroom houses. And then I just created this little door by Dorothy. This one was scribble. And so these are the scribbly birds that Dina Wakely created, the stamps that are scribbly birds. And this is, if any of you remember Warren, that was the old guy that I typed for on the computer, typed his columns for him. This is some of his writing back here that looks like scribbles. And this was a scribbly heart or something that was a die cut. And this one is November 7th, which was the way to what I want is through my creativity. So the way to what I want is through my creativity was my response to that. This has a bunch of texture paste on it too. And we'll see what else is in here. We're going to run out of pages here real quick. This one is the I don't know. So I'm going to quit doing the prompts because I don't remember. Day 10 is what this one was, which was 3 houses. That was what it was. The prompt was 3 houses. So here are the 3 houses I did. Home is not just a place where you happen to be born. It's a place where you become yourself. Yeah, that's pretty good. And this is day 11, which is just doodle. So you know how it is these are my goofy relatives. In this case, these are my funky friends. And so, yeah, it was just a doodle. So there they are. And I should normally do these on something else and then add them in. I did them right on the page. And so we'll just look through some of these other ones. These were found animals where I just put a bunch of paint on here. It actually says it's scrape paint on a page. When it dries, doodle what you see. So that's what I did on that. So I'll just show you some of these other ones. I think this is probably Dream is probably the prompt on that. I am blessed, and I think that's what's written in different languages around here. And this was day 14, so I made it further than I remembered. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Walt Disney. Isn't that the truth? The way to get started is quit talking and start doing. This is an ugly page. This is a very ugly page. But nevertheless, it's a page. And it was a prompt too, I think. What day was that? 16, which was, let's see. When in Rome. That was what this was. When in Rome. Yeah, ugly page. Anyway, this one is things to climb. So the prompt was things to climb. So there's a rope, there's climbing out of a hole, there's a hand climbing out of a hole, a tree, a steps and a ladder, a mountain. So those were things to climb. See, sometimes I was a little imaginative and sometimes I wasn't with these prompts, that's for sure. This one, I really loved this image. And so I was, sometimes when you art journal, I find myself trying to make something happen. This is what this was with this one. I was trying to make it happen. And this was day 18, which was the city. That was the prompt, was the city. This image I had in my collage stuff for a long time. It was only part of this. It was this bridge made out of pennies, stacked up pennies. And so I only had, I think it was this much. And so I ended up extending the bridge using metallic copper pen of some kind and extending the bridge. So I was trying really hard to make it work, and it's marginally successful. But anyway, sometimes it's better not to make it happen. But I still like the image. And here's when it begins to go, kind of off the rails. This is a mishmash, hodgepodge that doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, and here's where it's gone totally off the rails. These were tests of screens that I made for screen printing. And yeah, so from here on, I just quit trying to do things, and it's just sort of interesting little bits and pieces of techniques. But I think it's also fun to look through and just see people's process about how they do stuff. This is just testing a bunch of texture pastes. These were flowers done. Let's see, some of these, what are these? I think these were just flowers that I doodled. Some of them, like this one, was sort of a Zentangle pattern. Actually, I like that. Flowers are the music of the ground. Actually, I like that page. I like that page. I don't even know how I did it. These are mandalas that never got finished. And I don't know what that was. And then probably, let's see if there's anything else in here. Yeah, this was bits and pieces of paper that I glued on here, and then I just turned it into a mandala and kept drawing. So the solid black pieces are paper, This is just used up scrape paint. Same thing here. So from here on out, it's just, nothing. So I should work in that journal some more. Anyway, there's that one. Let's see if we can find one more. This is one of my favorite journals, and I'd like to encourage you, if you don't have a lettering journal, I'd like to encourage you to make one for yourself. If you enjoy lettering, that is. So this is from a book by Joanne Sharp, and I did this book one period of time when I was sick and I was having trouble getting well, and so I ended up just taking time working through her book and making the different exercises in this journal. And this is a composition notebook. She is good. She really is. This was a poster that I saw at Hobby Lobby, and so I snapped a picture of it because I loved all the different words and letter styles and so forth. So I'll just go through this and show you bits and pieces of this. This is where I cut out a bunch of different fonts and things from magazines that I liked and glued them in. I put 2 pages together in this composition notebook, and then I put a piece of tape. I glued 2 pages together, and then put some tape on the edges, and it makes a really nice edging for your pages. So these were different alphabets. It's so good to have something like this as reference, and you can come back to it. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have referenced this journal. And it's not all fancy stuff by any means. A lot of it, there's some doodles here and there, but a lot of it is just, playing around with letters. Hi, Esther. Good to see you. Some of these are things that I've drawn, and some of these are things that I cut out. And, but all of this is based on a love for letters and words and writing. This was from a little tiny book. It's one of those little gift books that was about this big that I bought sometime. And I loved all of the different ways of, like this, for example, how the letters are a suggestion of what the quote is. So it's illustrating the quote by the way that you write the letters. So this is about air and breathing. And so I just color copied the pages from that little book and glued them in here. So again, just different ways of, it's like if there was a little piece of space and I had something to fill this, stick on the page, I did. Some places I went through and, just played with the markers and stuff that I had just to see what they looked like. Other places, I just cut things out of magazines and glued them in for reference. These were stickers from Hobby Lobby, I think, but chalkboard stickers, and I loved that idea. But just ideas for letter styles, fun letter styles. This is all the pens and markers that I had at that time. Now, the fallacy of this is many of the markers and pens go out of style, or they quit making them, So that's why you either got to keep doing this kind of thing, or you just realize that this is a good idea. If you buy a new set of pens or markers or something, to make yourself a key so that you can see what color they are and stuff, but realize that they are going to go away more than likely. So these are more. These are some of my pens that I had at the time. And all of my black pens and markers, that's what this was. And this was just a whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff. But it's good if you just, and the other thing when you're doing this, when you're testing your pens, write what it is that you're using. That's one of the best things you can do, because now you get to see what the line width and the line weight is, but you also have the name of the pen. So it's a great way to do that. And you all have probably already thought about that, but I hadn't at the time. So here is old maps that I used in the background, and I wrote over the old maps. These are some fluorescent markers that I had. That was a new set of pens, and so I used that. Different styles of alphabets, and a lot of these came straight from Joanne's book exercise. So was this. And this was black gesso using white pens and the Jelly Roll pens over the black gesso. And similar here, and then just using some this edging, this border. One of my people that used to be, she used to stream. I don't think she streams anymore. She was from the UK. Her name was Claire. And she used to do these borders around her pages where she would write a word and then do a squiggle and write another word, but it was all, one continuous thing. So I wrote that down the edges of this so I'd remember that. I love that effect. This, I love the text in blocks. I absolutely love this idea. So it's really good to look at things again. These kinds of fonts, I love this idea with the color behind the letters. Watercolor markers. Some of these are quotes. Some of them are just ideas. Yeah, the black gesso, I love that too. And if you do something like that, it just, then you can come back and look at it. Like, how do you make the letters for the word shine actually shine? Or, give them dimension, shiny dimension and stuff. So, but I love this a lot. Let's see what else. I'll just keep looking through here. Testing pens over acrylic paint. So this was over Americana acrylic paint and golden fluid acrylic. Sometimes they have a completely different effect over one kind of acrylic paint or another. White pens, all different white pens and markers. This is white out that you use on, I don't even know if they still make it, but white out like, you would use to correct typing, when you were typing. So that's what this was. And I think it's cool. I had it in two ways. One was a pen and one was like with a brush. And if you can still get it, it's a really cool way to letter. Alphabet soup. That was a Joanne technique. Letters over text. So writing over text paper and filling in letters, filling in parts of letters with different colors. These are paste papers. And so I created these paste papers, and I often use the catalyst tool to make marks. And so you'll end up with these lines, these shaped lines. And so it's fun to use those as your places where you put your text. So that's samples of that. Lettering on wavy and wacky lines for this one. I love this idea of coloring in parts of the letters. I love that. This is not terribly successful, but it's an idea of doing a watercolor background and then, doing lettering. This is real typical of Joanne Sharp. She does it, of course, far better than this. Pencil sketches, how to start it, how to to thicken it up and then how to color it in. They still make whiteout and get it at Dollar Tree. Ah, that's cool. These are whimsical grids. So making different grid lines and then either writing over, around the grids, or through the grid, through the lines. So and it's also good to take a quote and just see what you can do with the quote. How can you illustrate it? How can you write it? But these kinds of reference things are just really good to have on hand. These were lettering in the round, so different ways to letter round shapes. And Joanne Sharp has a couple of different lettering books. This was, I think, from the first one. And again, just different ways and different illustrations, like write the words and then pump it up and then extra color. This is start with a shape, add letters, and then color in spaces around the letters. And this was just bits of torn watercolor paper. This one I liked. I loved this style. These letters, those were fun. I don't do it really well, but you know, this was fun. Fine lines, fine line letters. So this is just different kinds of embellishment around the letters or the words. Just super sketchy letters and alphabets, and then scribble a background around whatever you write. This is outlining the letters after you write them, which I really like that idea too. And this is stacking words, stacking things together. So writing in a stack as opposed to writing across the page. And I don't know. These are just different examples of exercises in the book. These are writing with eyedroppers and the droppers out of the ink bottles and stuff. These were like the scribbles, the writing on the t-shirt fabric paints. That's what these were. Some of these remain sticky and we'll pull the paper off. That's what happened over there. Pulled paint because those never get super totally dry. This is making a stencil. Okay, so making a stencil, cutting a stencil out of paper, and then putting the stencil on the paper and spraying through it. So this is the stencil, and that's what the stencil made. And then also taking that same stencil, spraying it, cutting out the letters, and putting them on the page. So different ways to do that. This is quintessential Joanne Sharp, this kind of thing right here. I really love that. And these were all things that I cut out of magazines. All of these. I love things about the type and the word styles and all that. And this. I love this. Gingerbread letters. So I think that was the end of this part. And then this book turns over this way, so it turns around the other direction. And these were additional alphabets that I was making. So it's like two kinds of books in one that meet in the middle. These were all different alphabets that I don't know where they came from. I'm always collecting things and shoving them in my books. This is where I did watercolor and then journaled and then started cutting out the letters. And so that's a great way to kind of journal but have it hidden. This was a free class that Joanne Sharp did, 5 Golden Letterings, blogspot.com. I don't know if she still does that, but if that class is still available. But if it is, I highly encourage you to take it, using all different kinds of gold pens and making examples of it. and this I just liked, so I stuck it in here. Cut them out and stuck them in. These were examples from the class that she showed. I took screenshots and then cut the screenshot bits and pieces out and stuck them in the book, and I think that's as far as I went on that. And then this was, I don't know if this was from one of her classes or not. I don't remember. I think it was, but I'm not entirely sure. Looks like her style. So just making a little accordion journal, which I love accordion journals, and each page is different. And then you just turn it over and you have a whole different book on the back. And you can either illustrate a quote on each page, or you can illustrate a quote all across the book. But it was all different kinds of lettering styles, and so I just keep it stuck in my lettering journal. Anyway, so that's that. So maybe that'll give you a little inspiration. Make it worth your time to come hang out with me tonight. Okay, that's going to do it for me tonight, you guys. Thanks for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. If you're watching this before Tuesday, November 5th, do vote. If you're watching it on Tuesday and you haven't voted, go vote. Your vote counts. It's important, even though you think you're only one person, and it can't be that important, and you can't make that much difference. I have felt that way in the past. Your vote counts. So get out and vote. Okay? All right. Thank you guys for being here and being so supportive and listening to me and watching me be a little... I appreciate you being here. Thanks for listening to our adventure that we had last week. All right. Remember to live in gratitude. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. I cannot tell you that enough. And do something nice for somebody else. Okay? I will see you. As far as I know, I will be back here on Friday. That is my intention. So hopefully I will be here Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. No more adventures. I agree. I will see you as soon as I can see you again. So you guys have a great rest of your day, week, weekend, whenever you're watching. All right? I will see you soon. Remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. And I'll see you before you know it. Bye, everybody.